Hello, this is Reverend Doré coming to you from sunny and warm Sarasota, Florida on this January 5th, 2014. Today we want to talk about turning over a new leaf. You know, New Year's Day was just 4 days ago, and it's about time we took a look at what kind of a 2014 we really want to have. What do we want it to look like? What do we want to do with our lives in 2014? You know, you really get to choose what this new year will bring in your life. There's a lot of people that think that it happens to you, that God or fate or an angry ex-wife or husband or your children determine your life. No, actually, you think it into being. What you imagine as true for you is true for you. What you think you are, you are. So now's the time to think a new thought and get a new year. What do you want to have in 2014? Let's begin the process right now. For all of you who celebrate New Year's in different times other than January 1, this applies to you as well. The new year is a time to stop a bad habit, maybe to change our behavior, or just become a better person. It's a blank slate. It's a new start. It's like the beginning of a football or baseball game or soccer game. The score is 0-0 and everybody's a winner until they prove otherwise. In the U.S., we do this by making New Year's resolutions, and they're made the first flush of change, a sense of all things being new, and an anticipation of the endless possibilities that the clean slate has given us. Oh, we fully intend to do everything we resolve to do, I'm sure, but after a few days or a week or two, we fall off the wagon and are right back to our old ways. Why do we do this? Well, perhaps it's because it's so easy to forgive ourselves if we fail. Or perhaps we're trying to put new wine into old wineskins, as Jesus put it. This ancient analogy tells us that you cannot build a new life using the same state of mind that created the old one. The old worldview, the old life, the old thinking must die for the new to be born, and that is not easy to do. When we make these New Year's resolutions, often with a hangover from the New Year's Eve celebration, we really want to achieve them, but we still have the old beliefs, the same beliefs and attitudes and mindset we had on December 31st. We haven't really changed our thinking, our state of mind. Nothing much has changed, but we expect different results in the next year. We are putting the new wine of our resolutions into the old wineskin of an old habitual state of mind that brought us the crappy year we had the year before. Therefore, our chances of success without a total transformation of our attitudes, beliefs, and habitual thinking is close to zero. What are we going to do? Do we just condemn ourselves to be what we've always been and, like Popeye in the old cartoons, just say, I am what I am, and never progress, never improve? We can do that, but it pretty much defeats the entire purpose of our being here on this planet. You see, we're not here just to take up space or vegetate or to stand pat. No. The entire purpose of this life is to grow in our ability to love, to learn compassion and tolerance and unconditional love. Now, unconditional love means you give love to everyone you meet regardless of how they treat you. You don't keep books. You don't only love people who love you. That's hard to do, very hard for us to do, but that's the lesson of life here on earth. At the end of the day, our lives are lived in order that we may finally understand that when we pass judgment on another person, we judge ourselves because he or she is us. I like what Pogo, the possum in the comic strips of back in the 1950s and 60s, and you got to be pretty old to know Pogo, but he was pretty cool. He said, we have met the enemy and they are us, and that is so true. We are here to become consciously one with each other and with God. We're here to heal our belief in separation, which I think is the root of all error, disease, war, poverty, and struggle. You know, we've got a planet that's literally the Garden of Eden, only we don't know it. We could probably feed 25 billion people on this planet, and we're worried about feeding the 7 billion we have now. The reason is because we don't share well. Human beings are just not very good sharers because we see ourselves as separate from the other fella. We're separate from that other woman. They're them and we're us. No, actually, when you get a room of full of people, you actually have one mind, and that's the mind of God. Now, you may have a whole room full of different egos and personalities, but the mind is the mind God planted in you, and that's His mind. We're here to become consciously one with each other. We're here to heal that feeling of separateness. How can we begin to make a new wineskin or a mental state fit to receive and act upon our wonderful resolutions and desires for the new year? I'm going to give you a disclaimer. It's simple. It's not hard to learn, but it's very hard to do. In fact, it's the hardest thing that human beings have to do. We have to change our minds, our subjective mind, the unconscious mind in particular. You see, your subjective mind is the motive force of your life. It's the driving wheel. It's what makes it happen. Your core beliefs are stored there. Your attitudes are stored there. Your deepest fears took root in your subconscious mind beginning in childhood, and they're still being planted today. Your memories, good or bad, live in your subconscious, and they influence every thought, word, and deed. Your subconscious is the seedbed of your reality. Unless you can reprogram your subconscious, you cannot permanently change your life. Your imagination draws on your subconscious mind to paint its pictures of fear or horror, success or failure, sickness or health. You know, what you imagine is just what you create in your life. You imagine and think your life into being. When we say change your thinking and change your life in Science of Mind, we are saying that you must program your subconscious by changing your conscious thought each and every hour of the day. Now, that's the big secret. God has given you a tool for reprogramming that subconscious, and that's your conscious mind. Because your subconscious mind receives just about everything that you think. So when you change your thinking from what you don't want, from what you're afraid of, from what you're trying to avoid, to what you want, to what you hope, what you know you should have, to the desires of your heart, then everything changes, doesn't it? As you think differently, so your world is. If you're a pessimist by nature, then you see the glass is half empty, and you're probably going to have a life that always falls short. It's always half empty. You know why you're a pessimist? Bet you know, but I'm going to tell you. It's because you're afraid of being disappointed, and you're afraid of being hurt. So you don't expect anything. You expect everything not to work, and you're never disappointed that way, because what you think is what you create. You want a full glass? Then you must get over your fear of disappointment and pain and believe and see the world as an optimist does, bright, full of joy, abundance, and love. Now, optimists are not Pollyannas. They know the facts. They do this in spite of the facts that are in front of them, and that's what you have to do. The facts are the residue of your thinking, and if you change your thinking, the facts disappear. When you fall short will you fall short and be disappointed from time to time? Sure, but if you prepare for the worst, you'll always get it. If you prepare and expect the best, you surely will receive it most of the time, as long as you can believe it. You see, optimists have a much better odds of a happy life. It's as simple as that. If you like to play the odds, then you better become an optimist. The odds are much better. Faith is the key. What do you have faith in right now? Do you have faith that the world is a crummy place that's just waiting to visit bad things upon you? You know, fear or negativity is faith in the negative. Well, it's done to you as you believe, so if that's what you believe, then you have a crummy life and things are always happening to you. Fear is really faith expressed negatively, so what you fear, you surely will experience in your life. You remember the story of Job? Remember Job? He was a very well-favored man by God in his mind. He had all the things he wanted, but he was scared to death of losing them. And for 40 years, he worried about losing God's favor. Sure enough, his whole life came apart. He had boils. He lost everything he owned. It was a terrible thing. And he said, "My God, my greatest fears have come to pass." The answer is they always will, because fear is a negative way of programming your mind. Now, what do we do about this? As Paul said, think only things of good report. In other words, those things you want in your life. And then be you transformed by the renewal of your mind. You renew your mind, you change your thinking, and guess what? You change your life with it, because after all, what are you but your thinking? Your body is only the locomotive vehicle for carrying you around. You are your consciousness. Now here's a simple formula for transforming yourself this year. Number one, decide what you want to experience in the coming year. Don't worry about how you'll get it. That's where most people get messed up. It's not your job. God will work through you to take care of the how. Somebody's going to call you with a perfect opportunity out of the blue. You'll get that promotion when you least expect it. You know, this stuff happens if you believe it. Your job is to make a clear, complete picture of your desire and your imagination. I mean, make it so real that you're living in it. Once you have a clear picture of what you want this year, now you're ready to go to work. Rule number 2, make your desire for 2014 the focus of your thoughts every morning, every noon, and every night. Think about your desire while you work, while you watch a soccer match or a football game or a baseball game, while you make love. Making love is one of the most creative acts that a human being can perform, both spiritually and physically. Now, you might want to consider that, because they have extra power in a situation like that, because there's so much emotion involved, and emotion makes things happen sooner. Think about it while you eat. Try to dream about it if you can. Make your desire the center of your life until you achieve it. This is how the rich become rich, not through luck or God's favor or chance, but by focus, by becoming one-pointed, concentrating on their goal or desire, and never giving up no matter what the obstacle. Most of the very rich had really tough childhoods, and they determined never to live like that again, and that's what propelled them to riches. Number 3, think about your desire only in the present tense. Say, I have. Never say, I will have, or I wish I had. Know that you have it long before you receive it. That's a statement of faith, and it's using divine law. Live in the end of your dream or desire, not the beginning. Imagine what you will say when that money's in your bank account, when your child is healed, when you don't have COPD anymore in spite of the fact the doctor keeps telling you it's incurable. What emotions will you feel at the moment you know that you've achieved your desire? Express great gratitude for receiving your desire long before you receive it. By being grateful before your desire takes form in reality, you're expressing not only appreciation to the Creator for giving you the power to create this in your life, but you're also expressing absolute faith that is already happening in your life. Gratitude is an expression of faith, an expression of trust that yes, it's going to happen and I'm so grateful for it. It's the lubricant of the universe. It's not just a thank you to God, because quite frankly, God doesn't need thanks. This is a good beginning, but it's not all you will need to learn. These 4 ideas will begin the process for taking your dream and taking it from a possibility to a reality as your faith builds and it becomes real in your mind. The realer it is in your mind, the clearer you can see it and imagining it, the sooner you'll experience it in your life. You can never achieve what you cannot believe. If you can't believe that you could do something, then you can't do it. Remember that little gem. It's distilled wisdom, and it's a key to all creation. Now, my wish for you and your family is that you have a 2014 filled with plenty, joy, love beyond measure, serenity, perfect health, and that your fulfilled desires are gracing your life and the lives of all those you love. Happy New Year, everybody. Now, if you want to know more about religious science, which is the teaching of the science of mind, log on to csl.org. That's the website of the Centers for Spiritual Living, and that's what our churches are called. Or you can subscribe to this blog or do both, and that way you'll never miss a post. Every time I post, you'll get it automatically. You also get a free first chapter of my new book. Thanks so much. Until we are together again, bye-bye for now.